the Wine Crush. I'm Laura Lawson, and today we are discussing masculine luxuries and great luxuries for your father on Father's Day. And right now, I can't think of a better luxury than to treat your dad to a bottle of Armand de Brignac, otherwise known as the Ace of Spades here in the States. But you don't need to hear this from me. Right now, we have Phillipe Bienvenu. He is the Commercial and Marketing Director for Armand. Phillipe, welcome to the Wine Crush.
Okay, bonjour, everybody. Nice to talk to you.
It's nice to have you on the show. I will say this for the record, Phillipe. You are the first Frenchman that's ever been on the Wine Crush.
Oh, I'm very honored by this.
Oh, we're very honored to have you.
Thank you so much.
Well, tell our listeners about the joy of Armand and the lovely story and the history behind Cartier.
Oh, that's a long story which started in the 50s by the creation of the brand name Armand de Brignac. That was created, Armand de Brignac. That's a family story. We are a family company, and that was created by the mother of Mr. Cathy, who is the present owner of the company. And in fact, it has taken us quite a long time to put in place everything about the product, what we wanted to obtain in terms of taste, in terms also of presentation. We really wanted with Armand de Brignac to create the best possible champagne in the best possible presentation,
I would say that unquestionably, if you can wander the shelves right now in the United States and see the bottles that Armand has out there, they're absolutely stunning. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the recent induction of Armand and what's going on with y'all right now?
Okay. In fact, so the first bottles of Armand de Brignac were released now in 2006. And it's really the result of sourcing the best grapes from the most emblematic villages from Champagne. That's always a blend of three carefully selected vintages, and this is, we can say, a multi-vintage champagne, which is something quite unique in Champagne. Most of the time for prestige cuvée of Champagne, you have just one single vintage, and in fact, we thought that having a selection of different vintages, we would obtain something more complex, something very rich in terms of aromas. And also in terms of the presentation itself, we wanted, as you say, to obtain something very amazing, something unique in Champagne. And this is the reason why we decided to use this metallized gold bottle, which is really unique in Champagne, and on which we apply a label which has been produced in pewter and not in paper, and having this very distinctive shape of, as you mentioned before, an ace of spades. So that's a great story, and that's an everyday story. And what I can tell you now, it's a news which I learned today. Next week in France, there will be the largest wine fair in the world. It takes place every 2 years in Bordeaux. The name is Vinexpo.
Right.
And you have probably heard, especially in the U.S., that some celebrities have endorsed Armand de Brignac. We have seen people like George Clooney or Tom Cruise or David Beckham, and we have also seen the famous singer Jay-Z consuming champagne, Armand de Brignac. And I have learned today, this afternoon, that Jay-Z will pay us a visit during Vinexpo on our stand, and for us that's a wonderful honor to see such celebrities having a real passion for what we have tried to do with our champagne.
I think it's amazing that you can take such old world culture and what a great history you have. And to date, I can't think of any product that has ever garnered the endorsement you have. Like you mentioned, from David Beckham to George Clooney, all the ads you see, of course, with Jay-Z behind it. I think you've taken the best of the modern world and the best of the historical champagne world and put it together in such a dynamic package that the whole world is talking about it.
Yes, and the great thing about that is that we are a boutique company, we are a small company, and in this product we just put all our passion for champagne. We didn't invest money on marketing or on advertising or things like this because we can't afford to do that. But it's great to see even today in such a global market in which very often huge companies are investing huge amounts of money, but it is still possible for a small company to have a great success just by producing a great product in a great presentation. And for us, this is really the most the best possible reward what we could imagine with this product.
I think unquestionably when you say you don't go into marketing, you definitely don't, but you have a brilliant strategist behind you. For our listeners, I am privy to something. I know that Armand de Brignac did a certain amount of green bottles, and the green bottles were very, very rare and only went to certain markets, and they were put together exclusively for the masters. So
yes, that's true. Yes, that's true.
So whereas you don't necessarily have to go out and buy your marketing, you have a great marketing guru, because definitely the advertising from having that at the Masters and the few bottles I actually got to get my little paws on certainly makes an impression. And I think it's wonderful that you are looking ahead and not just counting on the everyday, day in, day out champagne drinker who may drink the Krug, who may drink the Dom. You are going after the young, the fresh, the great market that truly can appreciate good champagne, but you're doing it with such a cool, hip twist.
We try to adapt to the market. We try to be flexible. We try to listen to all the consumers, to the feedback we hear about the product, etc. And we just try to bring people what they expect from a great product. And I think also, and what you just mentioned is a good example of that. Indeed, we produced recently a very limited series for golf tournament, and for us this is also the ability to bring a customized product, the flexibility to do something on demand for some specific customers. And I think this is also to show that we are not producing an industrial product, but we are doing something by hand, customized for some people, and this is part of the philosophy of Armand de Brignac too.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. So when our consumers and our listeners go to the stores, I know that you have, correct me if I'm wrong, you have 3 marks. You have your basic Brut, you have a Rosé, and is your Blanc de Blanc out in the market yet?
Yes, that's true, yes.
Okay, so for our listeners, when you want to go into that lovely wine shop, go ask if they have the Ace of Spades. You can get it in Brut, you can get it in Blanc de Noir, or I'm sorry, Blanc de Blanc, or you can get it in Rosé. And it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about for Father's Day, because the bottles all look metallic. So not only could you get your dad a great luxury, it could also look metallic, which means it could fall in the tool category. So you could win on 2 shirts right there. When we're looking at what you're doing with Armand, who would you say your target audience is? Who do you want to go out and try Armand?
I think this is a champagne which is definitely for everybody looking for a great champagne in a very exclusive presentation. We don't want to target any specific customers, but any customers, any consumers looking for a very authentic product, not a big production, but looking for something done with a passion, with the respect for the product. This is for us a certain idea of craftsmanship.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think you're definitely looking at a craftsman mentality when you look at these bottles, when you look at what goes into it. Well, Phillipe, you have been a dear as my first French guest, and I couldn't ask for a better person to be on the show, both for Father's Day and to advocate what great things are happening in Champaign. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show, especially with the time difference across the pond.
No problem. That was my pleasure, and I hope that everybody listening to the radio today will have the opportunity one day to come to Champaign and to visit us and to see what is behind the bottle, what is really backstage.
We like hearing that. Well, Phillipe, be careful. Some of us might take you up on it.
No problem. We've read